it or not. There is a moment meant for us, and now you made it, but I already played this. Not interested, open your eyes, let's get it done. Take my hand, just follow me. Shadow and me are one.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Summer of Poomsae presented by USA Taekwondo. I'm Jason Poos, your host, and what an amazing competition to this point. We've had great action in episode 1, of course, following up with tons in episode 2, but we're on to episode 3, and this is an elite episode. High-level black belt competition and a ton of it. So let's get right to the names here in episode 3. Let's start with the under 40 female black belt competitors. It is Jessica Ayers, Giovanna Valdez, Hillary Monaco, Kim Menchavez, Allison Kittleson, Megan Myers, Ashley Lamb, Christina Bentley, Carissa Fu, Rebecca Ong, Kathy Doe, Lisa Farron, and Miriam Santiago. Those are your competitors competing in the semifinals of the under 40 female black belt division. Also starting in our semifinals here now are athletes that have moved forward from that ultra competitive, I mean, it was so competitive, under 30 female black belt prelims, but these are the athletes that are competing for you today in the semifinals. It is Karina Bellassina, Angela Tortoro, Kyra Chan, Christina Castillo, Kelsey Ha, Ariana Lee, Carissa Westman, Udon Zhang, Kyra Kozar, Alina Duong, Christy Park, Yuryum Zhang, Karen Real, Dallas Munoz, and Haley Raw. Those 16 athletes have moved into the semifinals. They're competing for a spot in the finals in the women's under 30 female black belt competition. Let's talk about the semifinals in the men's under 30 black belt competition. It is Jeremy Suh, Justin Chen, Kevin Zhang, Casey Liu, Yuryum Zhang, Emil Dravid, William Shin, Brian Meager, Daniel Lee, Alex Lee, and Ethan Sun. Those 11 athletes are in the semifinals of the men's under 30 male black belt competitors. So congratulations to you guys competing today. Good luck to all of you, and hopefully we'll see you in the finals. Coming up now are those semifinal competitions, so don't go anywhere. This is the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae semifinals.
Hi everyone, this is U.S. National Poomsae coach and 2020 U.S. National team member Barbara Brand, along with Miyako Yerick, here to give you commentary as the action begins.
This is our very first competitor for the female under 40 division. This is senior 2 women, and this is Jessica Ayers. She's from California, and she is a member of Dongwon USA, and her coach is Sang-jae Lee.
So first Poomsae up that Jessica is performing is Taeguk Paljang. Nice solid performance from Jessica in Taeguk Paljang. She's a veteran competitor, been in action for many, many years at national and international events. And here's her first set of scores.
Right, so that first score, we just saw that she got a 7.1 on Paljang, and now she's heading into her second form, which is choreo.
Jessica is known for her stability as she goes through the form. She has great balance and consistency. Her rhythm and timing always seems very settled as she moves through the form. No matter what the form is, she seems to always have that steadfast, consistent tempo and rhythm as she goes through. It looks like she has set up her mat on her yard space there. And it's really great. We can see her entire body from head to toe. And that's important so that the referees can make sure that they give you the score that's deserved, because they can see all the way from head to toe with nothing cut off.
It's also more entertaining for the viewers, wouldn't you say, Coach Brand?
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, past online events, we've had like a few now. Sometimes the athletes aren't aware that we need to see the entire body, both the refs and the spectators. And here, second share for choreo. 7.2 on that last one, and her final after averaging without this 7.15 for the rest of the game.
So this is the semi-final for the women's senior 2 division. There are 13 in this division, and we're going to take the top 8 into finals. This is our second competitor, Giovanna Valdez. She's from Kwang Trung Martial Arts, and her coach is Hong Quinn.
So again, performing Paul Jung here. Referees looking for consistent height and not a lot of bouncing up and down as the techniques are performed. So she wants to keep that belt height nice and stable, shoulders nice and stable as she's going through from step to step. Nice high kicking technique. And this one now, the jump kicks. As she moved through, she seemed a little bit more in control, actually, as she went through the form. She did better and better from movement to movement.
Sure.
Her stance consistency became a little bit stronger as she moved through the steps. Nice high score there. 7.4 for Giovanna Valdez.
Go.
2 forms that the competitors have, Paul Jung and choreo. I feel like they're sort of different in power and strength and stability. On choreo, you have a lot of side kicks, but on Paul Jung, you really have to use your core, I feel like, a little bit more. So it shows a nice breadth of movement from these athletes. And again, this is the under 40 division, or under 40, so 31 to 40 years old.
Yeah, she seems like she feels very, very comfortable with those front kicks going nice and high. She can do the same with these side kicks coming up. The first set, I think, we're between her shoulders and head. Now let's see if we feel a little bit more comfortable. About the same spot for her, the knees. Got a really nice high score in Paul Jung. Now let's see if she can do the same in choreo here. Sometimes it appears in video that not as much power is thrown as when you see them in person, right, Miyako? But actually, they're throwing some good power here. It's just hard to appreciate it sometimes.
It is hard to make power come out on the video. I know I do a lot of video review myself, and you look at it and you're like, man, I put so much power in, and it just doesn't always come across. So I know that is one of the things that athletes are really trying to focus on. How do they get the judges to see through a video your power, your softness? So maybe you go a little bit softer to really emphasize the difference between that soft and hard.
Yeah, her score fell a little bit between those two Poomsae. She ends up with 7.27, but still in first place there. So a little bit higher than Jessica Ayers, and now we're moving on to Hillary Monaco.
Hillary Monaco lives in New York, and she's a member of Westside Taekwondo, and her coach is Master Dan Chuang. You heard from him earlier in our episodes. He's one of the national team coaches as well.
So off to a good solid start with Paul Jung. She probably wants to take a look at centering up those punches in general. Anytime you're coming straight forward to the camera like that, you want to make sure that everything is accurate and on target. So she'll do another punch after this turn here coming up right now. We'll see if maybe she's now find her spot. That one's a little bit more online, so good job. Now going to the front leg kicking techniques. Oftentimes people feel a little off balance when doing those kicks out of the Poomsae there, that tiger stance. She seems to have no problem with those. Now the double kick here.
Just some other slight different things, doing things on video. You can tell her yell came a little bit after the move, but I'm sure she did it on the actual kick where it should have been.
Yeah, that's true. It might be a little bit of glitch there in the timing as you're watching the screen, but rest assured she's doing that kick right on time. It's a nice 6.74. And is Hillary new to competition, Miyako?
So Hillary has competed in the ECTC Collegiate League, which is on the East Coast. And she took a few years off from competing on the senior national circuit, but she did compete in 2018 on the U.S. National Poomsae team for U.S. female team. I was one of her teammates, actually. And we competed in Spokane, Washington on female team, where we got a silver medal, I believe.
So here she is starting out with choreo, nice high side kick. That looked fantastic. Let's see if she can do the same on this side. Great flexibility. Actually seems a little bit more comfortable throwing that side kick than the front kicks.
Yeah, it seems like she's relaxed a bit in the second form.
You know, always those jitters at the beginning can kind of get there. Now she seems very settled in.
Yeah, really nice solid side kicks from Hillary.
Taking the time to get a full extension there just for her. I want just a little bit longer locked in stances that she's landing those. That horse stance looks really good right there. So she extends his stance out just a little bit more. There you go. She feels a little bit better going to the back here. Good, nice, long, accurate stance will give her plenty of time to throw that full extension on the hand technique.
Just one last fun fact for Hillary. She just recently got her PhD just a month or so ago. So congratulations to Hillary.
Wow, that's great. Where'd she get that in?
You know, I don't really remember. I'll see if I can look it up.
6.76. We're starting off with Giovanna Valdez in first, Jessica Ayers in second, and Hillary Monaco. Now up to Menchavez out of Southern California. She trains with Taekwondo under Master Justin Wang. He's a longtime competitor.
Kim just recently aged up into this division, and she is very strong and very quick, and she's very grounded. So she's a really great competitor to watch if you are a little bit shorter like me, and you want to watch how somebody of her stature competes in this division. She's a very strong competitor.
I think she's just about maybe 5 feet tall, and she has tons of power as she moves. And I'm hoping that's coming across in the video of our audience, because she's got really nice, strong turns and transitions. And hopefully this will be what's going to help her as she tries to place high here in the semifinal round, getting into the finals. Strong score at 7.4.
Very nice high score. I think that was one of the highest so far for this form.
Looks like her height on her side kick has improved. Her extension looked very long and relaxed.
One of the things I'm realizing watching these videos is the quality of the video. It helps if you can pause your techniques a little bit. So her ability to hold that side kick for just a half a second at the top really lets it come through on video for the judges and for us viewers. We can really see that extension, which is nice.
Yeah, that takes a lot of control. And Kim looks like she's been working really hard on this.
바로 재료 기니
Good, and 7.47 for the second Poomsae. I think that is the highest score, right, Miyako?
I think so. I think that puts her at the top.
And well deserved. She looks really solid into the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's almost a 0.2 gap there, and especially in some of these divisions, you know, 0.1, you'll have 10 athletes. So building up a little bit of a gap there helps get her into that top spot to move into the finals.
Yeah, it's a good gap for sure. And here now is Allison Kittleson from Dynamic Taekwondo.
And Allison is from Richmond, Virginia. And she has done some of these online competitions. She says that she competed in the Oceania Open Online Poomsae competition. So she has some experience already with the virtual submission.
Yeah, and that was just within a couple of weeks. So
that was just very recently.
Yeah, good idea for her to get some of that extra tune-up before this event.
바로 차렷 수영
Once again, this is the women's under 40 female black belt division. We have 13 competitors in this semifinal round, and the top 8 will be moving on. So that was Allison coming in with a fairly high score there for her first form.
Yeah, a very, very high score. I think that was in the top 3 of those first competitors for Paul Zhang. Now moving on to choreo.
차렷 준비 시작
She seems to pick a pace that's very comfortable for her, not rushing anything and allowing herself to finish every technique as she moves through the Poomsae. That'll keep her on balance for sure.
Allison Kittle, I'm seeing here, is 32 years old. She's also pretty new to this division, which means she'll have a lot of time to develop her Poomsae and really see how she stacks up in this division.
She has a good start here so far with a nice high score for Paul Zhang. Let's see how the referees feel about her choreo.
One of the things I always try to remember on that last bar of choreo for the judges from the front, they can only see your back. So really making sure that you engage your hips and your core and pull that other hand backwards because they can't really see the chopping hand. So things like that when you're doing your video submission, what can the judges really see from this point of view? Looks like they really liked it. She got a 7.3 on this second form.
What a high score. So a 7.3 for both of Allison Kittleson. 50 balls, right? Oh, look at that. Coming right into second place. We have Kim Menchavez in first. Allison Kittleson in second place. Moving on to Megan Myers.
준비
And here we go with choreo.
시작.
Oh, this is Paul Chung, her first form. This is Megan Myers from Bel Air, Maryland, and she's a member of USA Taekwondo Academy. We're noting it's a very nice outdoor venue, but it is sometimes hard with smaller mats to be able to fit inside that space. So we'll be watching her stances to make sure that everything is accurate as she goes through.
She's doing a great job on that very small space there. Sometimes it does impact the length of the stances as you're moving. It just feels like you just need to make them a little bit tighter and shorter. So she does a great job here. In general, she has some hand techniques that she just made some small corrections to. She might see her score go way up, and that would be the knife hand blocks. Just a bit too low in general. There's quite a few in the form. Some of those might have cost her 0.1.
차렷. 경례. choreo 준비.
And now we're here at choreo, her
시작.
second form. Nice alignment, and that head, shoulders, hip and knee and foot all on the same line there on that first side. This is where she might have a little bit of trouble coming forward toward that water. So I'll hold our breath for her until she jumps in there. Oh, not bad. Good job there.
Megan just recently got her first on black belt, actually, I believe, maybe even just April 2020.
자리에. 경례.
She stopped into the middle of the form
choreo
there,
준비.
quarter point, and so she'll have a 0.6 deduction for a
시작.
start, and she's going to begin again here.
And where does that get taken off of, Coach Brand? Is that off of the total score, accuracy, or performance?
I want to mention here, on the second time that she's going through the form, it looks like she's not able, I don't know if you can view this, Miyako, better, but was she able to extend all of those kicks?
I believe they are. They're a little bit lower. It looks like maybe she's going for a little bit more control this time. So she's lowered the kicks. That one was a little bit higher, just to make sure that she feels comfortable with this second time through.
So in my view, I could clearly see the chamber. So just rest assured, if you're part of the audience, that you're seeing full kicking technique. Sometimes you might see the video jump about.
바로.
And I think she has a lot of great potential as she's going through the Poomsae.
자리에.
Her side,
경례.
like, she could really do a fantastic job with that. And welcome to the competition. This gets a 5.36 on that second Poomsae, the choreo, and up to 5.73. So still our leaders are, I believe, Menchavez, Allison Kittleson, and Giovanna Valdez, up in the 7.44.
준비.
This is Ashley Lamb.
시작.
She's from Ashburn, Virginia, and her instructor is Master Esther Joe. Esther is one of our new into senior 1 female division. I believe she just aged up, and so she has a very talented young coach in the Virginia area. And this is Ashley.
Is Ashley new to competition, Miyako?
I haven't seen her before, and I'm actually from the Virginia area myself, so I haven't seen her in competition. She might have been around. I'll try and look up her record here, but she's looking pretty darn solid. Really good flexibility and control and groundedness.
Yeah, I asked because I haven't had the pleasure of watching her in a competition before. She's got a wonderful space there for practice and training.
Yeah, so she says that she just got her black belt last year, and she's been training in Sport Poomsae for just a year. So I think we'll have some great things to come from Ashley Lamb in the future.
For her, 6.83.
자리에.
And let's see how she does in choreo.
준비.
She's also 39, so she's almost just a couple years until she ages up into the next age division as well, where she will, I think, be quite competitive. Nice flexibility and extension on those side kicks. A little bit of a push with the ball of her foot on the side kick rather than the heel, but really good control.
Yeah, I like her expression. Her facial expression is very calm and almost a happy countenance there. So good for her. She seems very intent, but very calm at the same time. Nice big breath before she finishes this last line. And as you mentioned before, trying to show some core strength as she goes through that line.
I'm also enjoying seeing where everybody's training. You can see a little bit into their home life. You know, you can see backyard trainings, basement trainings. Some people are going to the dojongs, which is always nice, but having a place to train at home really helps for that consistency.
Wow, look at that score.
That is a high score. I believe that ties with Kim on that one.
Good job, Ashley.
Yeah, welcome to Black Belt Poomsae. Actually, you're crushing it.
So my name's Christina Bentley and I'm from Portland, Oregon. I'm in the under 40 division for women. And I've been doing Taekwondo for about 6 years now, and this will be my second competition. The reason that I wanted to start doing competition was just to grow a bit. It's not something I'm used to doing, is being in front of large crowds or, showing things that I've learned in that way. And my kids were really inspiring because we've had small tournaments that our schools put on, a group of schools, and they really enjoyed going to those and winning medals and competing, and being able to be a good role model for them and go to competition and show what I've learned in front of a whole panel of judges and my peers was difficult to do, but fun and challenging. And being able to do that and have the ability to do it live was really nerve-wracking and interesting. But then moving to this other format where we're doing it online and just recording, I really thought that it was going to be a lot easier, but it ended up being the same, challenging, but in different ways. I really enjoyed this experience, and I'm really looking forward to watching everybody else compete online. That was one of the things that inspired me to compete, was watching some of the previous national championships and watching the people in my age division and the older age divisions who are still up there competing. I was really inspired by that, and I'm really looking forward to being able to watch everybody during this tournament.
Moving on to Christina Bentley from World Champion Taekwondo. Nice big space here.
Christina's from Portland, Oregon, as we can see on her uniform there. And this is her last year in this division. She's 40 years old, and she is the Oregon State Champ for under 40. I'm sorry, it says here she was at the state championships and got second place.
I believe I saw her compete. I was up in Oregon at the state championship earlier this year, and they had a nice group of black belts up there competing.
That was one of the only in-person championships, huh?
Yeah.
Before everything started closing down.
Mm-hmm.
바로 차렷 경례.
That was a really solid first form from Christina, coming in a score of 6.6. Accuracy is a little bit lower than some of our other competitors, but I think that as she ages up into the next division in just a year, she will be competitive as well.
시작.
Here's choreo. If you're getting ready to compete yourself, if you're a junior or a cadet and you're viewing this, take note of the nice big space that she's using here. Christina's picked a nice, well-lit space for her to be recorded in. That makes a big difference. You want to give the referees the best view possible without a lot of other things in the frame. With no distraction, we can clearly watch her from step to step and just note the technical presentation areas.
Nice, good breath here. Again, going into that last bar. This is her second form.
바로 차렷.
This is Christina Bentley again from Portland, Oregon.
And 6.3. Again, accuracy, make sure you bring that up a couple of notches before her next competition. Let's down that at a nice solid 0.45. And 7th place there. She mentioned this Allison Kittleson, Giovanna Valdez, in third spots. Now we're viewing Carissa Fu. I believe Miyako, you may be familiar with.
Carissa's from Boston, Massachusetts. and she's part of CW Taekwondo and T-Boss competition team. I've competed with Carissa on female team since 2012, and we've been bridesmaids for each other at our weddings, and it's one of the great things I love about Taekwondo is the friendships that you make, and she's a multinational time team member, bronze medalist at 2014 World Championships, I think, in individual, and here she's really just showing great strength and stability, flexibility. This is her first year in this age division. I'm really excited to see how she does.
And also, Chris is quite a strong sparring athlete at the same time. That's hard to find. Somebody who's equally strong in sparring and in Poomsae. You see all the Hogus in the background. She's kicked all of those and trained.
She was on the 2020 Poomsae team this year with her husband, Dave Chan, who also is a black belt, and they compete in pairs together. Wow, look at that score, Coach Bren. This is the highest one we've seen so far, 7.63.
Yeah, by far, with a huge gap.
Jimmy.
Korea is very strong. Poomsae for Chris historically. She has nice, long, beautiful kicking technique that she can really show here. That nice,
really nice extension.
I've seen her be healthy. I've seen her be a bit injured, and no matter what, she is a fighter. Doesn't seem to let anything impact her performance.
Chris is showing really great rhythm and tempo here. I feel like even through the video, I can see the difference between the soft and then the attack on some of these moves to give us that contrast that's really hard to do over video.
Roll. Shot. 차렷. 그냥.
Good, excellent performance. I expect a very high score here for her choreo. And sure enough.
Yeah, I think that was the highest side kicks that we've seen so far in this division. So really nice setting her apart here. That presentation score going up even from her Palchong.
And boosting her to first place here, just above Kim Menchavez.
Nice big gap there for Carissa.
My name is Rebecca Ong. I am from Ocala, Florida, originally from the Philippines. And I've been practicing Taekwondo for 10 years, since I was 10 years old. And I am under division under 40 currently.
You mentioned that you were on the Poomsae national team in the Philippines. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we did go to the Hanmadang in Kukiwon in Korea back in 2004. And we were supposed to be going to the first World Poomsae Championships as well. Unfortunately, at that time, we had some conflicts and that we could not commit at that time to go with. It was me and my husband supposedly as a pair to go in the Worlds, but yeah, unfortunately, it didn't happen for us. We decided not to go. You know, Taekwondo has really helped me a lot in many ways. It has taught me to live up to all of the tenets of Taekwondo, you know, showing courtesy, being resilient, having perseverance. And so I'd like to just say a message maybe to all the athletes out there that, you know, stay humble and continue to train. Don't let one loss or even 100 losses put you down and stop you from achieving your dreams. Just continue to work hard and keep your chin up, and be very grateful of the people around you, especially your parents who continue to support you in this sport.
Here's Rebecca Ong from Ong's Taekwondo, her coach Angelito Ong.
She's very nice, deep, long stances, really showing some groundedness as she's transferring through these stances.
Yeah, that strong foundation really helps her look smooth as she's going from step to step.
And it's really hard on those, Paul Jung, that's probably one of the hardest bars, is to lift those front kicks up from a cat stance without pushing off. You have to just lift using those hamstrings. And I'm impressed with all these ladies so far today who've been really having nice front kicks in this bar.
It's really hard to stay vertical, right, on the kick with the posture staying intact as the kick is thrown out, neither leaning back or leaning forward, trying to chase the kick or lean away from the kick. It's always a bit of a
There's so many muscles that want to give. Your leg, your body, they all want to cave. That's a nice 7.1 there for Rebecca.
Puts her in good position with over a 7.0. It's trying the same footwork here, nice and smooth, going from step to step.
She's very intentional with her kicks. I can see like the focus and the attention. The hands come in and all of the tension is just on that kick.
Yeah, she certainly doesn't rush. She allows herself to finish each technique before moving on to the next. Make sure she has that nice, clear hand technique or kick for the referees to fully appreciate.
Right, it feels comfortable, and that's a very hard thing to find in your Poomsae is a point where you feel good and comfortable and you don't look like you're trying really hard, and it just flows naturally. I know I work on that every single year, trying to make it look natural and easy. That was Rebecca Ong, and it looks like she's from Ong's Taekwondo, so I'm not sure if it's her school or family school, but she just got a 7.17 on her second form.
Good, I think that puts her in a pretty good position in the standings here. Yep, number 6, so in that top 8. So we're looking for the top 8 coming out of the semifinal round.
Right, and we have just maybe 3 or so left athletes. This is Kathy Do, our current U.S. national team member in this division.
Kathy's super strong throughout every single Poomsae. She's extremely consistent from form to form. We'll see her kick height a little bit in choreo, where she really has a dynamic side kick, but in this form, we'll see the front kick strength. See that well over her head and in control. So this is what I'm talking about right here, this posture that she's able to have with that boomsogi, that tighter stance, and able to show that she can recover from it quite easily.
You can also tell there are a lot of athletes will have to cheat on that jump and jump to the left to reach their mark, but she was straight on. She just knows exactly where she's going. Really seasoned veteran in this competition, and that was a really solid Paul Jung.
7.73, wow, fantastic score for Kathy Do.
Kathy is from Miami, Florida. Not that we can see it outside the dojang space.
Yes, her father originally had a club, and then she took over that club. Look at those beautiful side kicks there.
Side kick. Jeez.
Kapow.
And this is also Kathy's, I believe, her last year in this division, and then she'll be moving up into the 41 to 50 division.
Yeah, she was get to go to World Championships in this under 40 division. Really looking forward to it, and now look at her staying consistent, training hard, and waiting for the next opportunity to compete. That side kick is just amazing.
You can compete with the 18-year-olds.
Yeah, when you see it in person, her kick looks just effortless in person. And I hope it's coming across that way on screen as well.
Kathy also does a female team in the over 30 division with Twa and Claire Kim. And one of the non-Poomsae things that I really enjoy about watching them compete is their hairstyles.
Oh, really? I enjoy their snacks. They always have a ton of snacks. Woo! Great score.
7.87.
Yeah,
Those sidekicks really coming through for Kathy.
Kathy
That
does.
puts her in the lead, I think.
I'm sure it does. In the clear lead, I think, with a bit of a gap. Look at that. Kathy Doe, Carissa Fu, and Kim Menchavez all look fantastic. But
Yeah,
wow.
so we're really seeing some separation there in the top 3 from our, internationally seasoned veterans, but there's still competition to make it into that top 8 to make it into the finals here.
Here's Lisa Farron from Blue Wave Taekwondo.
She is our second to last athlete in this division, and then we'll know our top 8 who are moving into finals in the women's under 40 division. Lisa has really great flexibility on her front kicks, on that front bar. They've dropped a little bit on this really difficult bar here that we've been talking about.
Yeah, and here she might get a little boost up off this first one, so probably going to be a little higher there. And nice strong transition here to that last line of Poomsae.
I think she has a really great transition from back stance to front stance. You do that 4 times in this form. I always really try and focus on it, make sure that you're not stepping backwards and you have that. And I thought that came across really nicely on her.
Yeah, she got some really good presentation scores and maybe a few tweaks in the accuracy area. Doing a really good job so far. Let's see how choreo works here.
Lisa's from Vermont.
So without much rest here, she's moving on through choreo. Athletes get 30 seconds of rest between the 2 Poomsae. And during that time, although you couldn't see it there, the athletes are there on screen during that rest period. The side kicks were really well executed, nice and high.
So we lost just a little bit of her fingertips there when she reached up. But the rest of her has been in frame for the entire form.
Thought that last line was probably one of her best as she performed. Nice and solid to finish up. And right on her mark.
All right, and I believe she is our second to last competitor here, so we'll be getting those scores, seeing who's into the top 8 to make it into the final division.
Yes, we have Miriam Santiago on deck as these scores come up on screen. 6.74 for that second Poomsae. We'll see if it's enough for those top 8 positions.
All right, so it looks like to be in the top 8, you need at least a 7.12 from Miriam Santiago.
Okay, let's see how she does. Looks like she's got a pretty good setup here.
Looks like she's from Florida.
Yeah. Nice transition there from side to side.
One thing you also want to show in that bar that we just saw with the 8 count is good hip movement with that 8 count on your hands. If you just do your hands, you're not really showing the application of the move. So making sure that you get a good 8 count hip twist with your arms.
I like her turns. They're all pretty solid. Balance is good. She moves from side to side, forward and back. Good job, Miriam.
Also love these transitions, and the whole production quality I think is just really great. It's exciting for athletes to be able to come in and see themselves on a video like this. It's very exciting. And here's our last form for the division. Choreo from Miriam Santiago from Florida. And again, we're trying to make it into that top 8 to go into finals. Pretty good flexibility here on those front kicks.
She seems to have all the confidence in the world as she's going through this very comfortably. I don't see her feeling as though she's awkward moving through these techniques at all. She seems to know exactly where she wants to put her foot out and hand extended and go step to step very comfortably. And congratulations to her and all the athletes who are here in our Summer of Poomsae event. She's in hard hit Florida, and just feel like, you know, our hearts reach out to everybody who's having a bit of a tough time right now. She got a 6.43 and a final score of 6.44. And I believe she needed a little bit over a 7 to get in that top 8.
So here we go. Here's our top 8. You can see there we'll be moving on to the finals. 13 competitors here in the semifinal round.
So Kathy Doe, our 2020 U.S. national team member, is in first place, followed by Carissa Fu and Kim Menchavez. Now we're about to start our semifinal round, right, Miyako?
Yes, this is the women's senior 1, so under 30 years old. And this is Karina Bellassina.
Starting off with Tebek here. Looking for this side kick right here, about to come up. Nice extension there. Wow, fantastic height on that front kick extension.
Yeah, her knee is driving up really high, which allows the leg to just go straight up, and you don't get that swing that some athletes sometimes have as they're learning. And this is, again, the under 30 division, so 18 to 30, which is the largest age division that we have.
Starting off with a nice strong 7.1. Accuracy score is a little bit higher than we started with the under 40 females, so should be.
Right, so I might expect scores to be just a little bit higher in this division, as accuracy and performance scores really with the higher kicks for the 18 to 30-year-olds, we might see slightly higher scores, although I think they should be competitive with Carissa and Kathy Doe's scores. Anything really above a 7 is really competitive. And again, we're looking for the top 8. And in this division, there are 16 athletes. So we're going to take the top half. The top 8 will go into finals.
That's how we mentioned there, she has that little rest in between, a 30-second break to collect herself and get ready for the next Poomsae. So in this case, it's a Pyongwon. This can be a challenging form for a lot of athletes. It feels a bit like you're on a balance beam as you're going from step to step. It's just one line of movement from left to right and back to the left again.
Karina showing pretty good control here, good stability. The side kicks did drop a little bit from Tebek to Pyongwon, but you sometimes really want to go for control on this form because it is so difficult. Pyongwon is also one of the shortest forms, so there's really no margin for error. If you fall out, there's not any other time to make it up.
Okay, so that's Karina Bellassina there with 7.17. Nice high score to start us off.
And our next athlete is Angela Tortoro. She is from Team M Taekwondo in California, and her coach is An Nguyen.
准备
Starting off again with Tebek.
시작.
Nice beautiful high kick to start off. It's fantastic. So as you mentioned, we will expect quite a few of these athletes to be able to do that as well. She's got really great timing here though as she's going. And a beautiful side kick.
almost vertical here. Really nice control coming out of that into the front stance too.
Nice transition there through the line. Oftentimes athletes get a little off balance on it, and she's doing a great job and finishing up nice and strong with that almost vertical front kick.
Sure. Angela, I believe, is one of the youngest athletes in this division. She's still 17, but she's turning 18 this year. So she will age up, and she brings in a 7.4 on that first one. Angela also does freestyle. She's on the M Team freestyle team. So nice, well-rounded athlete in the Poomsae world. And she also does pairs, I believe, and team. Team for sure. I'm not actually sure about pairs.
So a pretty quick transition here between forms before moving on to Pyongwon. It's about 30 seconds to collect herself and be ready to move on.
준비. 시작.
Very well done. That front kick, side kick is a challenging combination, and she seems to move through that very easily.
There's a really great hip tilt where you can see her hips go before the side kick goes, which really helps with your balance so you're not throwing your body. It's totally in control.
And real good pace for her to make sure that she can control all the technique through the finish of each one before starting the next step. No rushing at all with Angela Tortoro. .76 on that second Poomsae. Let's see what
high score there. So she will be in the lead, and she might be one of the ones to beat. Although we have many athletes coming up in this division in the semifinals who are strong competitors.
Here's Kira Chen, coached by Master Dan Chuang and Carissa Fu. I believe she was on the 2018 World Championship team. Am I correct, Miyako?
She was on the 2019 national team, and we went to the President's Cup, and she was on the freestyle pair and team, but she also is a consistent medalist for traditional individual in this division. Here's also from Boston, Massachusetts. Showing good flexibility here, control. The side kicks were pretty good and really nice rhythm and flow. I feel like she has a really good consistency in her tempo where the flow is really nice. You don't have any hard stops from her.
Yeah. Y'all expect to score just under Angela's for this. Yes. 7.2 for the first form. Let's see how she does on Pyongwon. I remember her on that 2019 team. She's a very flexible athlete. And that's really going to help out in Pyongwon.
And she's been really working on her side kicks during quarantine, so I'm excited to see this form.
Good extension there.
Really nice control on that side kick. You could see her bring the chamber up and then extend, and there was total control when she went into it.
That was definitely the best kick of the lot in this form for sure. Her right side kick there out of that Hatari Sogi. I imagine she'll be just a bit under Angela in the scoring here after that second Poomsae. That's Kira Chan. Second Poomsae, 7.37.
Nice score there from Kira. Good job, Kira. Kira also just recently got a silver medal in freestyle individual at the 2020 US Open, which was also right before we shut down. And she's snuck herself into second place here so far. These are all really high scores. The first three athletes coming out strong. Another strong competitor here, Christina Castillo. She's from just outside Austin, Texas. consistent medal finisher in this division and won gold at the 2019 Collegiate Championships.
Yes, and Christina Castillo is coached by a national team member, Elva Adams.
Christina is also known for her very high effortless side kicks. You see there, she barely has any upper body dip. Her leg can just come up so high without her upper body moving. Same thing on these front kicks. That structure she has is great.
Yeah, front kick's pretty fast. It really comes off the floor nice and quick in order to help her get that push upward. 7.43, another great score.
I feel like we're going to have some tight competition for the top 4 when we get into the finals. These athletes are really putting up great performances.
And here's Christina Castillo starting off with Pyong Won.
Christina was on the national team that went to the World Championships at the Wuxi in China last year, and she represented in this division. Christina's also showing really great upper body flexibility. She's turning her core and using her arms, but without falling out at all. That's one thing I think, back flexibility, that a lot of athletes don't think about. Especially as you age up, you want to make sure that you're taking care of all of your body, but she has really great back flexibility to allow her to have that rotation.
And in second Poomsae, it's the 7.4. I believe she'll be just under Angela in the leaderboard here. Yeah, that back flexibility is huge, and I think that Coach Duong put together a video for this event that athletes can look at that goes over the back and core flexibility for side kicks. So our athletes might want to take a look at that video. Here's Kelsey Ha from Team M Taekwondo, coached by An, Hui, and Longwen.
Kelsey's also a multiple national team member in both freestyle and traditional. She's also been on the national collegiate team as well. Really great flexibility here and those control on the side kicks. You can see she's doing this on a concrete. It looks like she doesn't have mats or anything, so you don't need to be in a dojang in order to compete in our Summer of Poomsae event. Just record anywhere that you have good lighting and enough space.
Kelsey Ha with a 7.16, looking very solid throughout that performance, and now taking a breath before she gets to Pyongwon. So even though it looks like it's back to back, you do have a little bit of a break. 30 seconds isn't a ton, but it's a little bit of time for her to visualize the next form and get ready.
And on the 2020 national team, Kelsey had 2 positions. She won with Alex for freestyle pairs, Alex Tu, and she was also on the freestyle team that won. So she would have been in Denmark on the team this year, but instead I believe that the national team will be competing at the Pan American Championships.
Yeah, I believe they're getting ready for their second test event for that online championship, and we're hoping that they have a good result there so we can all go to compete. That's Kelsey Ha finishing up Pyongwon. Kelsey always such a solid competitor. She's very comfortable on the mat, whether it's freestyle or recognized Poomsae. She's a strong competitor. So finishing with a 7.3.
Good, so she had a nice jump up there from her first form to the second form, getting her an average of 7.23.
And that puts her in 4th place there.
Geez, these first 5 athletes all above 7.0. That's just an incredibly high level of competition in this division so far.
And her teammate Ariana Lee is up now from Team M, also coached by An Hui and Lo Wen. That looks like a fun place to retrain and record.
When it gets hot, you just go into the sprinklers and cool off. She's showing pretty good consistency and power here. She's really clean in her transitions. I haven't seen her stumble at all.
It looks real good. Looks like she's out there in the San Francisco Bay Area out there competing on what looks to be like a regulation football field. Good for her. 7.1 for that first Poomsae. It can sometimes be difficult trying to record outside with shadows and sun and distraction. Looks like she's doing a really great job just being super focused and ready to hit every single step here with power.
Showing really good control. She's definitely doing this form in a comfort zone. She knows where everything is and seems to have a really good flow. And I'm sure that flooring is not easy on bare foot. I know the football athletes usually have spikes on their cleats, so doing that out there is kudos to you. Really great performance.
Good, and with that second Poomsae, 7.13. And as we mentioned, all the athletes so far have had scores at over 7, looking very strong with 7.12. So that puts her in 6th place.
And we have 16 athletes in the semi, so we're going to take the top 8.
Moving on here to Carissa Westman from Flying V Martial Arts. Her coach is Coach Vincent Viena.
Chris is also very flexible.
Looking very comfortable in an indoor space. Here in California, we're not allowed to have any indoor activity at this time. So it makes it tough for us to get to our club spaces and do a recording. And that may have been why we saw Ariana Lee outside and Kelsey Ha at her home there, and also Angela at her home as well.
That was a really nice form from Carissa Westman. 7.74. That might be one of our highest scores.
I think it is. I think it is the highest.
Carissa is also very young. She's just 18 years old. I believe this is her 2nd year in the division. And she does both sparring and Poomsae. Another nice. Both Carissas are great at both Poomsae and sparring. Maybe it's in the name.
Well, that was a very nice extension on that first side kick of putting on here. Wow, kapow.
Really showing great flexibility and control both in and out of all of these side kicks.
Yes, wow, Zowie on that one. Very good job for Carissa Westman from Flying V Martial Arts.
And she's from Chicago, Illinois.
Wow.
Coming in with the highest score. Wow, a 7.80.
Yeah, she
The
did
judges really liked it.
Wow, 7.77 and a nice gap for Carissa Westman.
Yeah, so she is really pulling ahead there. She's probably at this point guaranteed herself a spot in the finals.
경례. 준비.
This is Yuryum Zhang.
시작.
Their family own a school, Dojang, and it's Zhang's Youngin Taekwondo. She and her sister and brother all compete. They're all very competitive.
A nice high right side kick there. And finishing up nice and strong on Tebek. We hope you're enjoying this 2020 Summer of Poomsae event. I think it's fantastic that even though most of us are not able to get to our clubs, we're still able to train and compete in this method here, this new online competition. We have 7.33
준비.
for Yuryum Zhang's first form, and now moving on to Pyongyang.
시작.
Like she kicks so hard that chain is still moving above her head there. Nice extension on that left side kick.
She looks really comfortable in this run. Very natural. Things are coming easy. There we go on the last side kick.
I think the score might be higher for this one than for her Tebek. We have to just wait and see though.
And her sister will be going just a few athletes later. She's the 8th person to go, and Yuryum will be 12th. So both sisters in the same division, and she just brought in a 7.36 on this second form, 7.35. We'll see where that puts her on the list. Into 4th place here.
Nice. So this is national coach and 2020 national team member Barbara Brand along with Miyako, Yerick as we go through the semi under 30 female black belt division. I'm here on the West Coast in Sacramento, California, and Miyako on the East Coast. And what city are you in right now?
I'm just outside of Washington, D.C. in Maryland.
So we couldn't be much further apart. And yet it's still coming together in this competition commentary. So it's really good to have you on board today to help all the audience and the athletes as well really be entertained by this event.
Well, it's really easy when we have athletes of such high caliber. And this is Kira Kozar.
Great front kick.
Yeah, she's pretty new in this division as well. I believe she aged up just a couple years ago. And she's from the East Coast. I believe, I want to say New Jersey or Connecticut area.
7.3, nice solid score. Good start.
Yeah, she's from New Jersey.
준비. 시작.
I like how she put her position a little bit more forward on this form so we can really take a closer look at her technique.
She's had one of the cleanest spaces, which makes it nice and easy to focus. She has the most recent USA Taekwondo logo in the back there. So far, a solid run from Kira.
바로.
Very nicely done.
시작.
We saw one of her teammates in the most recent competition, the Oceania competition, competing from that same site. That was Eric Gunn, and he won that division just about a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they have their space well set for this competition method, this online method.
It looks like Kira is coming in 6th place there at the 7.23. Again, we'll have 16 athletes in the semifinals, and we'll be looking for the top 8 to go into the final round.
시작.
So Kira Kozar there in 6th place. And our next athlete coming up will be Alina Duong from Team M.
You can see there the 7.23, there's a tie for 6th between Kira and Kelsey Ha. And so when that happens, it goes to performance.
We have Alina here in California as well, in her home training space. Alina Duong has a lot of competition experience. I expect her to do very well in this competition. Both as a freestyle athlete and as a recognized athlete. She has been on many national teams and world championship teams as well. She has a 7.4 for that first form.
준비. 시작.
I've also seen M-Team post videos on social media, and they do compilations of all their athletes. So I've seen her practicing here and doing aerials and flying side kicks. So it's fun to see where people are training in their quarantine. Really nice control and extension on her side kicks so far.
Alina always has really good intensity and purpose as she's moving through the form from step to step. Really looks like those are believable techniques. Like those will actually work if she was going to be using them.
팔어.
And really grounded as well. I think the contrast between the high of the side kick into that nice low front stance is just a nice visual contrast for us as viewers as well.
Okay, that was Alina Duong. And her second Poomsae score was a great, fantastic score, 7.7.
That'll put her up there near the top.
Really good presentation scores there. The final score of 7.55. That's going to put her nice and high on this in the standings. She's in third place now behind Carissa Westman and Angela Tortoro.
준비.
This is Christy Park here from Taekwondo Kids.
시작.
Coached by Master Kim.
Really high flexibility, tight to her body on the front kick so far.
Now her power is really coming through on the video. So it seems like sometimes we lose like 10, 15, 20% even in video, but she looks like she has quite a bit of power, able to express it in this method, this recorded method here.
I think one of the things that's coming through is that her click on the top and the bottom. So her arms and her feet are both walking out at the same time, which helps show that visible power on video.
Yeah, definitely finishing hand and foot at the same time shows that power and that finish really well. 7.73. I'm thinking, is that the highest score?
I think that's the highest score, especially for the first form.
준비.
So let's see if she can do the same on Pyongwon.
시작.
Real nice, low, clean stances. Give her that strong foundation so she can really use that to push off into those kicking techniques. Yeah,
Really
not a lot of variance. Not a lot of variance in her stance size or her stance height, so nice and clean.
I expected another high score here. That was very clean. Really good power coming through. Good flow on the technique. She was grounded, like you were saying. Transitions were really smooth. I expect her to be right at the top with this score. Geez, the highest score yet. Yeah, 7.87 here.
Yeah, well deserved. She had quite a bit of control, balance, power. She looked great.
So Christy Park coming into first place there by 3/100ths of a point over Carissa Westman.
차렷.
Gap there.
경례.
And here's Yuryum Zhang, so the second Zhang sister for the day in
준비.
the division. Yuryum is also from Zhangjiang
시작.
Taekwondo. I believe she was on the 2020 national team for female team with Karen Real and Esther Joe, I believe.
Got nice high kicks, very good extension.
Hello.
That was another really solid form.
Sure.
Yeah, I imagine her score will be in the mid sevens somewhere. Well, let's see, yep, 7.57 for Yuryum Zhang's first form. And she'll be moving on to Pyeongwon in just a moment. As we mentioned before, they have a bit of a break. These athletes have really great stamina, but they need a bit of a break. They get 30 seconds to collect themselves and be ready for the next form.
There's really great body control as she's coming out of her kicks.
Yeah, she doesn't appear to be falling out of them at all. She's stepping down with good intention, and not because she has to, but because she's choosing when to do that.
Hello.
A nice finish there.
Sure. 잘 교내.
I imagine she'll get a similar score as her first form. Oh, a little bit higher, 7.77, so 1.2. Yeah, great.
That'll put her probably in the top 3 as we come here into the look for the top 8 to move on to finals. Yep, so that put Yuryum in 3rd place here. Her sister Udon is in 7th right now.
Yeah.
And Angela Tortoro looked so great to start off with. She's now in 4th place, I believe. This is Trinity Wong from Sky Martial Arts, an athlete of Grandmaster Yuryum, and training here in California again. So not able to go to club site, so I'm doing the competition right in her home.
Trinity is also a member of the M-Team PPP program, so she competes with M-Team members, and she was on the female team, I believe that went to Wuxi last year for female team.
Hello.
Trinity has really great extensions on her arms. I can't tell if her uniform's a little bit shorter or if her arms are nice and long, but when she does that punch, it just visually looks so nice and long.
And her form is well rewarded there at 7.63. I really enjoy watching her front kick style. Her posture is really great during those front kick techniques.
시작.
She has really nice volume on her arm motions, and then a good finish once she hits her. One thing, sometimes athletes, you'll see either body moving or the hands will hit but keep moving. I feel like she has a really good stop.
Yeah, she does. That was a really great finish. That last left side kick with extended arm to kind of match in parallel position, and it looked really strong throughout. So I imagine she'll get a nice strong score and be in the top part of the standings there, 7.67. And finishing with 7.65. Let's see where she ends up in the standings in the top 5. Yep, number 4 for Trinity Wong.
Please look at this. The top 12 athletes all 13 athletes have been above a 7.0. So it's really just showing how competitive these athletes are. Following up, here we have Karen Real, multiple time national team member for individuals. She won a medal at the World Championships for individual just a few years ago. And then was on the team that went to the Pan American Games, where Poomsae was included for the very first time, and she won a bronze medal for female individual.
And she's our current 2020 U.S. national team member. They're competing at her club site in Southern California at Eagle Taekwondo.
Karen attends MIT in Boston.
Great front kick there. Great posture and control.
Really nice performance from Karen. She also looks very comfortable. Sometimes you can see the effort on some of the kicks or transitions, but she is just very confident and comfortable in her form. Yeah, and there you go, 7.87. So that's probably the highest score I think we've seen for this form.
Yes, it is. And she just looks like she's just looking super poised out there, relaxed, ready to go. Here's Pyong Wang. We have a very high talent group here, you know, with athletes that have been competing for quite a long time. At least 10 or 12 of these athletes have a great deal of national and international experience.
Really nice upper body position on her kicks as well. Control, confidence.
Yep, there's a little lesson in how to do Pyong Wang. And that may score even higher than her first Poomsae. 7.9. Yeah. It's very well done. Really high.
Yeah, that vaults her into first place here.
Yeah, both high presentation and accuracy scores there for Karen Real with 7.89, finish it up, and a nice little gap for her between her and Christy Park.
And then we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to have an interview with multiple world time champion in freestyle Poomsae, AJ
Jason
Munoz.
Poos here with Chopping It Up at the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae. I've got a special guest. We're here with Dallas or AJ Munoz. And AJ, first, I know that coming off of all these different trainings and then again traveling, and now you're a world champion. So you've competed in pretty much every format until now, and that is because you're doing the Summer of Poomsae virtual competition. How does it feel to be doing this different type of, base virtual competition?
I feel like it's harder. It's a lot harder to try to get a good run sooner because I think mental wise, you just, I can try it again. I can do it again. And so then you spend like 8 hours recording the same thing. Where when you're at a competition, you only get one chance. And so to me, this was a little bit tougher to kind of figure out how to do my best and show my best.
That's fascinating. I mean, because I think about it that way, and then you kind of say it, and it to me, that's fascinating because you guys, you're such a perfectionist. You probably ended up spending an entire day looking for the best the best competition Poomsae to put out there for, obviously, for your chance to win a championship. With that in mind, USA Taekwondo has now put a pathways out for you guys, and in particular, you've got USA Poomsae rankings. So how do you feel about the opportunity to not just to make a national team, but actually see the pathway or see the vision of what you have to do to ultimately make our national team?
I actually like these pathways a lot more because to me, it's about the athlete that's the most consistent. So it's not just based off of one competition, it's based off of consistency over time. And I think that can really show athletes that are strong. So I do like these pathways.
Yeah, that's a great point. It does, without question, shows the consistent athlete performing at a high level, not just for one competition, but throughout the season or throughout the year. And so it's a great point. AJ, good luck in this up-and-coming USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae series. And without question, thank you so much for joining us. This is Dallas AJ Munoz, a world champion, here at the interview for the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae.
Thank you.
And here we go with AJ. She's made countless teams. She's been a member of the national team for traditional Poomsae, for freestyle Poomsae individual, for freestyle pairs. She's been on the collegiate team as well. So she's a very well-rounded athlete from Texas. This is her family dojang here. Her dad is her coach. She also coaches young athletes. So giving back to the community, one of my favorites to watch as well.
So here's AJ finishing up on Tebek, the first of two forms. She'll be following this with Pyongyang soon. AJ is a three-time gold medalist in freestyle, 2014, 2016, and 2018, won the gold medal at the World Poomsae Championships. Starting off with a 7.7 in Tebek, and now prepping for Pyongyang.
AJ is the second to last competitor here in this semifinal round. So soon we'll have our top 8 who will be going on to the finals. And again, all of these ladies have just performed at such a high level. So it is going to be tough to make it into the finals.
Strong start on Pyongyang. AJ was also on the 2018 team and recognized as well as freestyle. And as she mentioned in the interview, athletes many times will record multiple times to try to find the best two Poomsae in a row to send. So these athletes sent their preliminary round of 2 Poomsae, followed by the semi, and then the final. So 6 forms, but that is hardly what they did. They could have done, as AJ mentioned, them over and over again for a long period of time. She got a 7.8 on that Pyongyang and a final score of 7.75, which puts her into number 4 on the standing board there, just below Chris Westman and above Yuryum Zhang.
Just one more competitor here in the semifinal round, and this is Haley Ra, and she is part of Team Ictus, and her coach is Master Pok Yang, who's also a member of the national Poomsae team.
Yeah, Pok Sung Yang, Master Yang, a member of the 2018 and 2016 World Championships teams. So here's his athlete, Haley Ra, going through Tebek.
She has just a slight lean forward on her body on the front stances coming out of those side kicks, but other than that, she is so clean and smooth, really good extension on the kicks. I expect we'll see another high score here.
Wow, nice high score, 7.77. Really great presentations for there.
Haley is from Rochester, New York, and she got a silver medal at the 2020 US Open in Senior 1 pair. She's also done some competing online. She got a bronze at the first Oceania Open online Poomsae Taekwondo event. So it seems like a lot of athletes were practicing their virtual video submission and recordings in other tournaments before doing this Poomsae Summer of Poomsae event.
I think it's paying off. She settled down a little bit here in the timing for this form. So imagine she may get a slightly higher score. Could be wrong, but it looks likely to me. Yeah, there were a few great events. Dado started with the first online tournament. I believe it was in May, and then we had our NCTA tournament that was hosted by our head coach Dan Chuang, and that was a fantastic event. Wow, look at this, 8.06.
Our first score in an 8.
Wow. Wow, she jumped to the top there. She got 7.92 for her final Poomsae score.
All of our athletes in the semifinal round, I keep saying this, but all of them were in the 7s. That's just, you know, it used to be if you got a 6, you were pretty competitive, but now semifinals all in the 7s. I feel like in the US, we really just upped the competitiveness level.
And here we are with our next division here, our under 30 male black belts, Jeremy Su from CW Taekwondo in Boston. He's coached by our head coach, our national team coach, Dan Chuang.
And this is Jeremy's first year in the division. He's still in high school. He just graduated from high school, will be going to college in the fall. So this is his first time competing in the Senior 1 division, and he's virtually. So I know he's looking forward to competing in this division through college.
Looks good on his first time out. Kumgang consistency is pretty good. A little bit of a I shouldn't have said anything, a little bit of off balance moment right there, but don't we all in Kumgang at one time or another have that happen? And he just seemed to just kind of brush it off and continue on. Good for him.
Good composure, yeah.
We can't let these small errors bother us at all. Coming up a little bit high on his Hakdari Sogi, and I think that might be impacting his balance just a little bit. So we want to stay from that horse stance to the Hakdari at the same time. Great finish for him. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, you know, we had that first Dado online event in May, then followed by the NCTA event. And then we had an event, Oceania, near Australia. They hosted an event. And also we had the Hamadang just before Oceania. So we've had quite a few events now. Athletes have had a good opportunity to practice with this new format. So here's Jeremy Soot now with Tibek.
Like Jeremy showing good power and intention on this round of Tibek.
Well, I think he looks like night and day on this. I think that he really likes this form for sure. Feels comfortable here, moving step by step. I think sometimes after athletes get done with Kumgang, they're just really excited to do whatever comes next. And Jeremy was a great Tibek, so good job to him.
This is the male semifinal round for under 30, and there are 11 competitors. The top 8 will move into the finals. This is our first competitor, Jeremy Suh. And he is from Boston, Massachusetts, coming in with a total score of 7.12. So setting the bar again high in the 7s here for the semifinal round for the males.
Looking for the top 8 here in a group of 11, as Miyako mentioned. So we'll have a lot of winners in this division here trying to get to the final. Here we have Justin Chen from Eagle Taekwondo in Southern California, coached by Master Chen. I haven't seen Justin in competition before. Have you, Miyako?
No, I think he's a new competitor for me, and I'm not seeing any information about him, but he's looking very solid, comfortable with Kumgang so far. And Eagles is a great team in California. They have a lot of junior competitors and now starting to age up into the Senior 1 division. So he's surrounded by great teammates who are going to help him and push him.
Yes, we'll see quite a few of his teammates here. Kara Rial just went up in the under 30. We'll see her brother Ryan Rial. Alex Lee went up a little bit earlier. So we have quite a few teammates for him to use as role models for sure there at Eagle Taekwondo in Southern California.
And this has been a really great run for him on Kumgang. Very solid. A little bit of body, a lot of people, it's so hard to stop your body when you're doing that spin. So the body will shift over and you'll have to pull it back a few inches after the spins on the stomps. But overall, really solid, good control, 7.6. That's pretty darn high for a kumgong.
It sure is. And sometimes with the camera pointing right at people, they get a little nervous, a little jumpy, right? A little extra pressure there that sometimes can turn into a little bit of stress. So just having a camera pointing at you can kind of bring up your blood pressure a little bit. Have you had that experience, Miyako?
Definitely. I feel like it's having the center referee. I know sometimes when I'm doing Shipjin and you have that 5-second push right and you're looking at the referee, that's kind of how I feel with the camera in my face. I'm like, the refs are looking like right at me. So it really does put the pressure. It's a different kind of pressure from live because you can do it, like AJ said, over and over and over. But that also really tires you out. So I've had teammates competing in this tournament and they said that, you know, they spent hours recording and it might have gotten worse because your body just gets so much more tired.
Yeah,
so keeping a good run is sometimes hard out of all of the videos. And Justin just had a really great tebek, really solid. His front kick height and flexibility was great. I'm guessing that he's young in this division.
Yes, he looks young, and you know there is a point when you're recording where it becomes a point of diminishing returns for sure. You just have to know when to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 7.55 for Justin's final score there.
So a really high bar. Because there's only 11 athletes, only 3 of them will not make it into the finals, and it's already showing to be another division where it's going to be really tight, high 7s probably to make it into the finals.
And here's a familiar face, Kevin Zhang from CW Taekwondo in Boston, coached by Master Dan Chuang. I'm sure you're well suited to give a little bit of background about Kevin, since he's been a teammate.
Yep, Kevin's another one of my teammates from Boston on the T-Boss competition team. He lives in California, but he's going to school at MIT. He's teammate at MIT with Karen Rial, who's also at MIT. And fun fact about Kevin is that he's really good at poker. So don't play with him, or chess. He will beat you. He also came in, I believe, second. Don't quote me on that, but he placed at the Grand Slam to try and make the Poomsae team to go to the World Championship. So he's a very high-level competitor. He also has been on the national team for junior team and for senior 1 team.
And over the years, he's put in a lot of hard work. That's just, when I look at him, I just say, wow, he has put in a lot of time and effort to get to this level here. This is a great kumgong. Nice.
Again, showing really great back shoulder flexibility there. You saw after the 8 count, you saw him pull in and you could see the engagement there of the core and the shoulders turning to really a good hit on those arms. A lot of times people will just use their arm muscles. Wow, a 7.93, really high score.
Holy shamoly, 7.93 for Kevin on
kumgong.
Yeah, that is a really great score. And now him feeling probably a little relieved and moving on to the next one, tebek. And now he's ready to go. I keep thinking he's almost going to hit that wall, but he hasn't done that.
A nice space too with the mirrors. It must be nice for training.
I think he's barely having enough room there, but it makes it look easy. I saw one competitor in the Dado Championships do it on his balcony. And he's going to fall off. There was like potted plants in the way and furniture out there, and he was able to do it, just like Kevin here in this somewhat small space, but he made it work just fine.
Yeah, making really good use of the space.
I imagine a high score for him here as well, maybe pushing into first place. Let's see how it goes. Oh, again, 3.03. Good job, Kevin. Now everything's changing a little bit. Everybody's going to be shooting for that score of 8 or higher.
Mm-hmm. Geez, look at the gap here. The gap on these first 3 competitors.
Of course, nobody knows. They don't know the score as they're doing their recording.
Right.
But imagine them there going, "Oh my gosh, I need to get over an 8 to be competitive." Here's Casey Liu from Just
시작!
Taekwondo, coached by Master Justin Wang, a U.S. team member, I believe, 9 times.
Wow.
Casey Liu, his student here.
I also keep seeing when the athletes are in the dojang, you can see the tape on the floor or the flipping of the mats to mark out the spacing so that if they can practice, everybody is a little bit socially distanced within the dojang. It's just a little bit different of how we're training and competing these days, but you can tell these athletes are all still training really hard because their level of competition is just so high.
Yeah, their level of commitment. So he's training there in that hard-hit LA area, which was closed for shelter in place, and then open for a bit of time, and then we've recently been closed to any indoor activity for many counties in California, about 30, I think. So we're still at that stage.
바로
Nice quick spins there from Casey. It's hard to
Cheerio.
control stopping out
Sure.
of them, but he did a really good job of controlling the speed on them. 7.37 from Kumgang.
So he's going to
Cheerio.
have to fight his way up here in the
준비.
next Poomsae. One would have said the Kumgang was pretty solid, but Kevin James just knocked it right out of the park.
시작!
We'll see.
Although we do have to remember, you only have to be higher than 3 people because there's only 11 in this round.
Yes, and I'm sure everybody as they're watching this is just taking a deep breath and reminding them of that same thing. Look at Tebek looking nice and solid as he goes through the first couple of lines of Tebek here.
Really high side kick, good extension. Pretty low dip on the body, but good control coming out of it.
바로
He also has really nice, good reach on his arms. You can tell he's turning his body through
True.
on the punches, so it's not just arms,
Kidding.
but core engagement, pushing through, using the hips as well.
쇼
Yeah, a lot of length on the hand techniques. I saw the same thing from his teammate Kim Menchavez earlier. So here's Casey Liu with 7.56, and see where he ends up in the standings here. Final score of 7.47. And in third place here, Kevin Zhang up at the top, 7.98, and then 7.55 and 7.47 for the next 2 athletes. And here is Udon Zhang.
So we saw both of his sisters go earlier in the semifinals for the women's senior 1 division. Here he is in the men's senior 1 division, and he was on the Poomsae team in 2019 at the President's Cup, I believe. I think he also does pairs with his sister, one of his sisters, in traditional. So they are a tight-knit family. They must train together, and they're all very high-level competitors. A little bit of wiggles on his bottom leg, but that top knee was so solid, even though the bottom one was moving a little bit. Look at how high his knee is on that right leg.
This one, he is a little bit more noticeable there, and his score may reflect that. Just had a little bit of trouble there holding that balance, but as he mentioned, trying to get a really nice high horizontal thigh in that Hakdari Sogi position. And as you mentioned too, so hard to stop on those quick turns, and he did his best to pull it in there on that last step. So that was Yuryum Zhang.
So that's a lower accuracy here. We're seeing 2.97. That's lower than some of the other athletes. The presentation is a little bit okay, but he did take a hit on that score because of the accuracy, and I do think that was the wobbling on the bottom leg.
Yeah, agreed. And here he is, though, relieved by Tebek, and saying to himself, I'm just going to go for it right here and extend every single opportunity, especially in those punches coming forward. Great chance to really extend those punches. Nice high kick. Although it was a little bit out of frame for me, Miyako. I don't know if you were able to see that,
He's just kicking so high, Coach Brand. It's going into the stratosphere.
That is awesome. I can only imagine where that kick ended up. Here he is, a nice solid finish. Trying to get
Really
that
nice front kick, yeah.
Yeah,
I think this will be a lot better score than his Kumgang.
Oh, for sure. You really have to be able to really push through to the last step there with as much power as you can. He really fought for that one and got a 7.4 for his score on Tebek. So his final Poomsae score is 7.27. We'll see where he ends up here in the standings. And in 4th place. So he's looking to just beat out a couple more athletes as we're going through. And now we have Emil Dravid from Apex Tigers Martial Arts, coached by Master Guido Huang. Looks like he's in an interesting space.
It is well lit and empty, though.
Yes, plenty of space for him to move, for sure. As you mentioned with another athlete in our under 30 division, when you're on that concrete there, it's not as friendly as surface. So I give him a lot of credit for moving.
Especially with all these stomps on Kumgang, that's really hard on your knees.
Yeah, it really is. And you want to put a little bit more emphasis in it every time. He probably did that, and then maybe had to suffer the damage a little bit afterwards. So give anybody a lot of credit who trains or competes on a concrete floor. Yeah, he does stomp hard, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he does have really solid crane stances.
Yeah, he does. The referee's looking for that horizontal thigh there, nice balanced position. In the Haktari support leg in basically what would be a horse stance height. So he was able to do that quite well. Let's see how they reward him for that Kumgang. 7.4.
This is a really hard form. I just want to emphasize. So these guys are competing at a really high level. I mean, we're being really nitpicky here because everybody's done so well. Again, in the 7s for these scores, the flexibility, the control, the stability on the transitions, in the kicks.
Starting off with Tebek now, he had a really great right front kick right out of the gate. I'm really looking forward to this side kick here. Wow, nice. Nice position on the leg, nice alignment. Good for him.
His core is very stable. His chest is so strong. You can see it's not moving on the kicks. It's so straight. A little bit of a uniform coming out there.
Yeah, good job to Emil. There's some small accuracy issues in his performance, but other than that, he did a really solid job.
High presentation there, yeah.
Look at that. Really good job. I think those side kicks really helped him, and he probably wanted to do maybe choreo rather than Kumgang.
Maybe in the finals.
We have a 7.55 for Emil. Look at popping right into 2nd place. It was a tie, but of course, when it's a tie for that 2nd place spot, and they look at the presentation scores. So here we have William Shin of Kim K Taekwondo.
William Shin is probably one of the youngest competitors in this division, still 17, just aging up into this division. High-level competitor, though. He has medaled at both the U.S. Open and the President's Cup. So coming from a junior into the senior division, I know with the men especially, as you move from the junior to the senior, you have to up your power, which can sometimes be hard as you're transitioning into that new division. But he's very clean and smooth in his transitions. We had a little bit of a bobble there earlier, but overall, I think if he can up his power level a little bit, he'll be very competitive in the senior 1 division.
Yeah, I've seen him and his teammates from Team K in many competitions, and they always do quite well there. They seem like a very friendly bunch as well, always having a good time at competition. And I know it's just a matter of time before he really starts being able to demonstrate that particular form with a bit more power to get up there in the scores like he wants to. You know, being new to this division, it's a bit of a challenge right now, but I have faith in him because he's been around and been competing for a long time, and I think he'll really be able to nail it as he matures into the division.
And his fundamentals are great. I'm sure that his side kicks are going to be really high here, which will help boost his score on the second form.
Oh, look at that. Nice. This right side kick, beautiful. That last line a little off on his footwork, but I do believe his score will be much higher than his first score for Kumgam.
Yep, the kicks definitely are going to help his presentation go up.
That was William Shin from Kim's K Taekwondo, and his score for that form 7.27. A little bit lower than I thought it would be, actually. Thought his score was a bit higher. He's got 7.3 to finish up.
Jason Poos here with the Summer of Poomsae presented by USA Taekwondo. And we are here with Brian. I'm going to say it Meager. Is that correct?
Mar.
I knew it was Mar. I just wanted to check it. Actually, I asked him that before. So, Brian, thanks so much for spending some time with us here at USA Taekwondo. We so appreciate your time.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about this Summer of Poomsae virtual competition. You've competed for Team USA. You've competed probably all over the world, I'm assuming, in these big arenas with big crowds. But this is a virtual competition where you have to be just flawless. How does it feel? What did you do different? Just take us through what you did to compete and are competing to do this competition.
Yeah, it was definitely really different. You brought up the point where you didn't have that crowd, you didn't have people cheering you on. So the adrenaline was kind of not really there. You really had, mentally you had to be prepared, and mentally you had to, like, you know, force yourself to think that this is the competition stage. You're about to be competing. Everybody's watching you, all eyes on you, to really kind of get yourself to have that extra, like, for Poomsae.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Very fascinating. I feel that. I mean, you just don't have that crowd to pump you up. You know, you got to find different ways to motivate yourself. And obviously, you being an elite athlete and a national team member, you can do that. We're confident in your ability to do that. So USA Taekwondo has now put out a pathways, has put out a Poomsae ranking system. So not only are you going to be able to see your pathway to the national team, but you're ultimately get to see your name up there at the #1 ranking. How's it feel to see this out now?
It feels amazing. It's like we've been working so hard, and you really want to get higher and higher and higher and constantly achieve that level of difficulty. And it's really like coming true. And, you know, we always say how Poomsae is not yet in the Olympics, but this is, I feel, the beginning stages of really getting there, and hopefully it will.
Yeah, it's a great point. It really is taken off, and it's gone to new heights, and so many more Poomsae athletes in every country competing at the highest level. So one, Brian, good luck with your competitions at the Summer of Poomsae for USA Taekwondo and all of your up and coming competitions. And I just want to say thanks for spending some time with us, and we're glad you're part of our national teams and our programs here at USA Taekwondo. It's Brian Marr, who has spent some time with us today. So thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
경례. 준비.
Here's Brian Marr from World Champion Taekwondo in Fairfield.
Brian is also very young. He's just aging up. He's 17 years old. So the same age as the athlete we just saw, but he's already much taller, which will give him the impression of having a lot more power in his moves. A little bit off center there on the spin, but really solid position. And he has been on the national team and placed, I believe, second at the 2020 Grand Slam to try and make the national team for men's team senior 1. So a competitive athlete here, both in individual and in team, just coming into this division. It can be hard for taller athletes to do kumgang to really make it look grounded because they have to go so much lower than shorter athletes. But he's doing a really great job. He has really low, solid, grounded horse stances. And so far the spins are looking really solid. So if he can pull this off, I think he'll have a really great score.
Looks very confident and comfortable in these Hakari sogis as he's moving through the floor.
Hello. Shot. Tone. Put
So let's take a look at Brian's score for his first form. Yeah, 7.8, looking solid throughout the form. Great balance on kumgang.
준비.
Those transitions were pretty solid. I imagine he will have just as easy a time in Quebec as he's moving from stance to stance in these transitions. He started off very strong with those 2 front kicks.
Good intention. You can see his feet gliding across the floor. Really nice extension on the side kick. We want to watch the position on this bar going backwards on both the stances and the body. Good turn there. And finishing. Geez, look at those front kicks.
Yeah, when he allows himself the time to lock in those front stances, he looks super strong because of his length.
Sure. Tone.
So he just needs to make sure he does that every single time. Lock in that back leg. Looks super balanced. And I imagine a high score here for Brian Maurer, 7.74.
So he's secured himself a spot in the finals. Again, there's only 11 athletes here, and they're all so high in the scores. We are going to see some really good athletes knocked out of the final round. 3 more to go.
Yeah, so Brian finishes with a 7.77. And here we have Daniel Lee from Kim's K Taekwondo. We saw his teammate just a bit earlier, William Shin.
And I believe this team is out of Georgia. And he's medaled at the US Open in pairs, and he's also medaled at the President's Cup, first place in team. So he's a up and coming athlete, 18 years old. Looking a little bit light. I'd like to see him be a little bit lower and more grounded on this form, but I think that Quebec will come through really nicely for him.
I really like this form for him for the most part. He has a little bit of a balance issue there on the Hakari Sogi, and he just has to have the confidence when that happens just to put that behind and brush it off and then finish strong. The last 2 steps were a little bit quicker than he probably wanted them to be because of that initial Hakari Sogi feeling a little uncomfortable for him as he was on that last line of the movement. So he finished out with 7.3 and now moving on to Quebec. Wow, that looked great.
He has a little bit of a head motion forward on the front kicks, but the front kicks are so close to his face that it's hard not to move your body. I'm excited for these side kicks. Good extension and control.
Yeah, we mentioned that it's sometimes difficult to see the power level on video. He is really trying to put everything into it. I really like those front kicks, the little head movement or not. I think that he did a fantastic job trying to maximize the height on that kick.
And the power. Sometimes to really get the power to come through, you push it a little bit more than you can control. But that, again, look at that power. So the judges really like the presentation on this form. I do think that the power came through a lot more, and they really liked that score or that form and gave it a high score, 7.55 total.
Yeah, so Daniel Lee ends up in the 4th slot here, actually tied with Justin Chen.
A 3-way tie there for 3rd place.
Oh, I missed that. So it was Justin Chen and Daniel Lee, and who was the 3rd?
Me. And it was Emil Dravid.
Ah, Emil Dravid. Awesome. Well, here's Alex Lee, the 2020 U.S. National Poomsae team member.
Multiple-time team member, also won gold medal recently at the Pan American Games for Poomsae individual. And they also won gold for freestyle team. So really great athlete, recent international experience.
That was the first time, right, that the Pan Am Championships had Taekwondo as part of the event.
It was that, right, so the Pan American Games had always had sparring. And what's cool about the Pan American Games is that it's all sports. It's all Summer Olympic sports, and you go in a village, and so there's judo and karate and basketball and swimming, and you're there with athletes from the US and all these other countries as well from our region, our hemisphere, the Pan Americas. So it was a really great opportunity to get to showcase traditional Poomsae and then freestyle as the final round.
Many people think that's our first step toward moving toward the Olympics with Poomsae, is doing a good job at the Pan Am Games, and certainly Alex Lee helped us with that, making a strong presentation for Taekwondo in that event.
Hello.
I expect a very strong performance from Alex Lee with Kumgang.
Yeah, he has such great control from his spins. You didn't see any body shift there. As soon as his foot came down, his whole body was in place. That's just such good full body control. Really high score here. He'll be close up there next to Kevin Zhang.
Here's Alex Lee with Tibet now, and he trains at Eagle Taekwondo with Master Zhang Jin.
시작!
Showing really great power on that first bar. Full rotation on the shoulders to get good power through the punch. Full extension on the side kick. That's nearly vertical. And control coming out. Makes it look easy.
Gorgeous kicks, and then finishing the technique right after the kicks with great strength as well, not just letting the kick kind of fall down and then placed in that hand technique, but finishing well there. That's Alex Lee from Eagle Taekwondo. He's our second to last competitor in this under 30 male black belt division. We're hoping you're enjoying our Summer of Poomsae, that you're sitting back with a bag of popcorn and a nice long, tall glass of lemonade, and enjoying all the performances today from the comfort of your home. That was Alex Lee with his second Poomsae score of 7.84 and a final score of 7.91. I believe he will be in second place, right, Miyako? Yes.
Yep. Yep, so there you see that three-way tie now for fourth place, but they will all be moving on to finals. And here's our last competitor, Ethan Sun, also from Eagles Taekwondo in California.
시작!
I believe Ethan was also a member of that Pan Am Games Poomsae team.
Yes, he was. And here he's with this Kumgang. Look at that leg there, that horizontal position. Nice, strong Hakdari stand. And working his way through Kumgang as if he has done it a million times.
So grounded. You mentioned, yeah, the top leg is horizontal to the ground, but his bottom leg, his body doesn't come up at all as he's transitioning from those other stances. And that's really hard to maintain across this whole bar here.
Yeah, all but two stances are down at this level. So the form starts off with front stances and back stances, and then moves on to horse stances and Hakdari sogis, all meant to be the same height. It's only one time you come out from that, and it's right here. But everything else is going to be at the low level. And so when he makes his turn here, the judges are looking to see, is that knee going to stay low? And it sure does. And then he'll try to transition to the horse stance and the next horse stance at that same height as well. Good job to Ethan Sun. I imagine he'll get a pretty good score here for Kumgang.
And then we have just one more form from Ethan and we'll know our top 8 competitors. And we are pushing some very high level athletes who will not make it into this final round just because of the high level of caliber that they're all bringing forward on these videos.
So I'm on the edge of my chair here with Ethan's son here now beginning Tebek and hoping to finish well to get into the top 8 here in this division. We had 11 to start and we're looking for the top 8 to move into the finals in the under 30 male black belt division. It's been great to be with you during this division.
I'm really enjoying myself, Coach Brand. Always nice to hang out with you and watch some high-level athletes.
Yeah, and this is just the beginning for us, right? This is just a semifinal round. Super exciting already with Ethan Sun putting everything into it. Always the competitor that's going to push through everything to give the strongest performance.
Really great finish there. I cannot even guess on who's getting pushed out of this round and not making it into the finals because I thought they all just did a phenomenal job. Here, a 7.74 from Ethan Sun on his second form. So we'll see the average score here of a 7.74. That should solidify him a spot in the finals. Let's go ahead and look at our top 8.
Okay, well, you know, tough time for William Shin, Yuryum Zhang, and Jeremy So. All did a fantastic job, all 3 of them, but just not quite enough to get into the top 8. So congratulations to those athletes in the top of the standings, Kevin Zhang, Alex Lee, and Brian Mir. And Miyako, what did you think of this division?
I think that, you know, one of the great things about having this is that it allows our athletes to continue to hone their skill while we don't have live competitions. And just looking at the scores, you can tell that they've been practicing really hard. And I feel like it's just validation to know that, you know, you're on the right track. You grind away in your basement or in your backyard and you don't always have that feedback from judges. So having this venue where we can have top level judges giving scores, compete against other really high level athletes, just I think gives the motivation for our athletes to continue and keeps the pipeline in the US really strong.
Well, I hope the audience really enjoyed it. We could definitely see the passion of the students. It almost felt like I was right on the ringside there with Ethan's son, that last competitor, trying to get into the top 8. Of course, it's just me and my imagination because that's not really what happened because he was recording at a different time. But to me, it felt like I could still get that sense from him of all that passion trying to make it to the top 8, just the same way as I deal with Emil Dravid there and Justin Cheng and Daniel Lee, who are all doing the same thing. Casey Liu getting that coveted 8th place there, just getting into that top 8's got to feel fantastic moving into the finals. And hopefully, I know it's just like a mental pump for him at this point as he's watching. Hopefully that's going to carry him through and, you know, hoping that all these students, along with Casey, that have been working so hard and training so long to get to this point, really feel wonderful about all of their achievement today. And Miyako, thank you very much for commentating with me. I really appreciate being your partner in this event. And I'd like to also say thank you, big thank you to Jose Villapando for putting this all together here. The Summer of Poomsae event is off to a great start. And I hope you're all enjoying it.
Thanks so much and see everyone for the finals.
Wow, back after a great semifinals here at the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae. That was competitive, that was tight, and we have finalists for you here and now. So let's get right to the names. Enjoyed watching all of you compete. Congratulations on great competition. Here you go. Let's start with the female under 40 black belt division. These are your 8 finalists. Let's start with Ashley Lamb, Rebecca Ong, Jessica Ayers, Giovanna Valdez, Allison Kittleson, Kim Menchavez, Carissa Fu, and Kathy Doe. Congratulations to these 8 athletes as they are in the finals of the female under 40 black belt division. Also in the female under 30 black belt division, let's give you our finalists. Let's get right to it with Angela Tortoro, Trinity Wong, Yuryum Zhang, Dallas Munoz, Carissa Westman, Christy Park, Karen Real, and Haley Raw. Those are your 8 finalists in the female under 30 black belt division. Congratulations, lady. Good luck to you in the finals. Let's get right to the men's under 30 male black belt competitors. These are your 8 finalists here. Let's start with Casey Liu, Daniel Lee, Justin Chen, Emil Dravid, Ethan Sun, Brian Meager, Alex Lee, and Kevin Zhang. Congratulations. Those 8 athletes have moved to the finals of the men's under 30 male black belt division. So good luck to all of you as you compete in your finals. Another amazing episode here at the Summer of Poomsae presented by USA Taekwondo. I've had a blast watching the competition. I've had a blast being part of it with you guys. You guys stay with us because guess what? Episode 4 is coming very soon. I'm Jason Poos, your host. Hope to see you on episode 4 where we have even more high-level competition. This is Summer of Poomsae presented by USA Taekwondo.